And a lot of cis women are like brainwashed into thinking they have to subscribe to this like quiet, meek, fragile thing. I'm the opposite of that.
It is part of what so many trans girls like about you. And like the reason that so many trans girls sort of like flock to you is because you are an example of a woman who isn't doing all the bullshit we were told our whole lives women are supposed to be.
Yeah.
You are an example of a way to be a woman that is like, nah, fuck all that shit, you know? When you don't know a lot of those women, we feel like we have to act like all the other people who are all like suppressing and like meek and scared to stand up for themselves and it's like we feel like in order to be accepted as a woman, we have to do those things.
Yeah.
So many cis women, whether they're confident or they know all that's bullshit or not, they still have not fully allowed themselves to express the fullness of themselves.
Yeah, Nazis are pretty fucking gay. It's the Gender Podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science. Science will solve all the problems. That's the trans agenda.
Trans people in science gonna save the day.
Solve the problems with us. With science. Science, bitch.
Science and my trans agenda, I'm gonna turn you trans.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to another episode of the Gender Yap Podcast.
Gender Yap Podcast.
I am a yapper named Chloe.
And I'm a yapper named Laura.
And today we are going to talk to you about misogyny.
Yay!
And some of our
thing.
favorite misogynistic experiences, including trans misogyny, because that is the type I have experienced the most of.
I thought this would be a fun one too, because we're gonna have crossover because we're both women, but also like have certain things that are very different. And I just thought it would be fun to talk about and compare.
Commiserate.
Yeah, bitch about it for sure. Yeah, because it sucks.
You thought this would be fun? You thought it would be fun to talk about misogyny? You think misogyny is fun, Laura?
Bitch, are you good?
This is no laughing matter.
Then why are you laughing?
Because I'm so shocked and offended. Sometimes all you can do is laugh. So, it's not going to be as like traumatic as it sounds, but like but it'll be a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, if you've experienced misogyny, we're going to talk about it. So I don't know if you're not in the headspace for it. Maybe
skip this one, watch it later. Or
watch
something.
a different one. We'll forgive you.
Yes.
As long as you leave a comment and let us know.
Yes.
Because you should subscribe, and comment regardless of whether you're watching this video.
Yes, and hit the bell notification.
Tremendous.
Yes.
Also, follow us on Patreon.
Yes.
Because we do all kinds of cool shit over there.
Yes, we do.
We do Get Ready With Me's.
And we tell stories while we do that. We have random conversations about a number of topics.
All kinds of topics.
We play Magic the Gathering. We have outtakes and bloopers we post there as well.
Oh, the deleted scenes. Sometimes we just have like a whole conversation in the middle of an episode.
That's
and we're
off
like,
topic.
It's so off topic. We're just going to put it on Patreon.
Yeah.
That's just going to be its own thing. So if you want in on some of the inside jokes, if you want to know what a trans queef is, or if you want to know what me, the calendar means.
It's me, the calendar.
All that shit's over on Patreon. So you just got to join us, be a friend.
Yeah.
Send us an email, thegenderyap@gmail.com, if you have episode suggestions, if you have feedback, if you just love us and want us to know you love us. You want to talk about misogyny now?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Let's fucking go.
So I know for me specifically, I feel like I have a unique experience with misogyny as a cis woman because a lot of cis women I feel like are raised with it within their household. There were little tiny like specks of it, especially after I started going through puberty in our household. But overall, like my parents never treated me like I was incapable of stuff because I was a girl. I was very lucky to be raised with that. My dad never like acted like he was just so upset that he had like my dad wanted daughters. My mom was the one that wanted sons, you know. My dad would include me in stuff that most fathers wouldn't include their daughters, and I was allowed to like be more tomboyish and no one really batted an eye at it. My mom always taught me growing up, like, you should never rely on a man for stuff. You shouldn't get married and have kids until after you've at least gone to like college or like gotten yourself a good job or like done all of the things you want to do. Yeah. Before you like do that part of your life. Like my mom was like very big on that with me and my sister. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I worked on the farm. It was my first job. It was a terrible job, but like you know,
it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really would. There's I mean, my dad really liked farming. Like he's kind of a nerd about it, I guess.
We need farm nerds.
Yeah, we need them. But working on the farm with my dad, because, like, you know, it was all men and then it would just be me. My dad never treated me like I was, like, too weak to do a thing. Or, like, if my dad was like, hey, like, go, like, lift this thing and put it up here or something, you know, like, and I, like, couldn't do it. He'd just be like, oh, okay. And then he'd ask someone else to do it and just not make it a big deal, you know? Like, little things like that. I feel like my experience with misogyny was more like being shocked and baffled going out into the world throughout my life and just being like, fuck, the rest of the world thinks of me as less than.
Yeah.
And there are little things, you know, like my mom's very homophobic. That's rooted in misogyny. You know, there's like things like that. But overall, the way I was raised and taught from a young age that I'm capable, and it doesn't matter that I was born.
We are going to have crossover shit.
Yeah.
We were both kind of raised being told we could do anything and then like went into the world and reality was like, nah.
Yeah, literally.
What do you mean? Fuck you. Why would you think you can do anything?
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of trans women that I become like close with. We do have that in common because a lot of trans women, not all of them, some of them, if they're like more effeminate before they transition, they deal with like, you know, certain things. But overall, we usually have a similar experience with the way we were raised. I've made this joke on this podcast that I was almost like socialized, not as male, but like as just, I guess, a human. Because I feel like the way we raise like men and boys and AMAB people in society is like, you're a human and you can do stuff. And then women, it's like, you're this dumb, weak little thing that needs to be treated like a child, you know?
I wouldn't even say boys are taught that they're human. Because, like, there's still, like, a prescribed role that's, like, enforced upon them.
For sure.
And it's shut down your emotions. Like, literally, you're not allowed to feel.
Yeah.
Which is, like, crazy as a human because we are emotional feeling beings.
Yeah.
To be like, actually, no, turn all that shit off. You're only role is to be the provider for a family. And it's like, well, how do you even know that this person wants a family or wants to be a provider? Like, there's so many other options available, but like they all get funneled into this forced box. I mean, I wouldn't say that's misogyny, but it's its own form of like
it's
patriarchal oppression.
Yeah, it is.
And like they have more privileges, but like in the same way that trans girls are like, it's conditional privilege. It's like, it is for men too.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I feel like there's very few of them that like actually want to be or would have been the way that they are if they were raised in an actual fair society.
Yeah.
There'd still be issues, but like it just wouldn't be anything like what it is.
Yeah.
I think it is important to mention that in this episode because so much of the misogynistic bullshit that comes our way is because of the misogynistic bullshit's effects on men, and it makes them treat us as lesser.
Yeah.
Because it creates the hierarchy of men on top, women on bottom. And then you have to just like, at all costs, do anything you can to not be feminine.
Yeah. I also feel like with any demographic that's slightly more privileged than somebody in our society, like in the hierarchy, there's this element of like, I hate the like role I'm forced to play in society, but also I'm going to make the best of it because I do have a little bit of power over this demographic. So I'm going to give that shit back to them and treat them as less than, because at least, even though I'm not happy, I at least have privilege and power over that person. I feel like there's an element of that.
Very real.
With that in mind, some of the early memories I had of misogyny. So when I was a little kid, I loved basketball. Like, I remember watching Space Jam and I was like, I want to be a pro basketball player. I want to be Michael Jordan, but like a girl in white. You know what I mean? And like, I was like, I'm gonna be the best. And like, I played basketball through like most of my like early childhood. I got back into it after I got sent away. We'll come back around to that. But like, I remember my mom mentioning you should pick another sport because most like women's team sports are severely underpaid. And you're not going to have a like super comfortable life having that be your career. My mom pushed for me and my sister to play like golf and tennis because you can make a lot of money with that. And it's just like a single person sport. You don't need to be on a team for that. My mom was a jock in college, right? My mom played sports her whole life. My mom gets awards from her college every year because she was one of the best pitchers they ever had in that sport. She went to the first World Series for women. Like my mom did a lot of really cool things with sports. And as a result, because it was the 80s and she could only do so much with that, she really pushed for me and my sister to want to be like pro female athletes.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I learned it that this isn't going to work if you do it this way. So you got to play this sport. You'll make money. You can go somewhere. And she would always just like push us to do that, even if it's not really what we wanted.
Yeah.
But off of that as well, I also remember, because my mom would kind of like vent to me and my sister about like misogyny she had dealt with and experienced being a woman in sports, trying to like make that her like life's work and career. There's like certain male athletes like Charles Barkley, but my mom would always be like, I used to love Charles Barkley and now fuck Charles Barkley, because I guess he said on like television that he thinks women's sports are a fucking joke. Like, I can't believe we even have them. Why take them seriously? You know, like things like that. I just remember just like hearing my mom complain and then going out into the world and like the way people talked about women and girls having access to things that men just have and are praised for. We were kind of like looked down upon. You internalize that stuff, you know, like growing up, it doesn't feel great. Another thing, when I was in the 7th grade, because my mom was very like, you have to play a sport every year. I had played on like, it wasn't like an official team, but in the 5th grade, there was like an after school program. We would sometimes play flag football in the 5th grade as a group. And I used to have so much fun doing it. And I remember being like, well, they have football this year. They don't have a girls team. I'm going to be on like the boys team, right? Like, cause I had so much fun doing it in the 5th grade. And I did get on the team, but like the way there was this one kid, fuck this kid. There was this one kid that had like tried out and didn't get on the team. And he was so salty about it. And then he was pissed that I was a girl and got on the team. So when he found out, I remember him saying something to me like the next day after we found out, and he was just like, they only let you on because you're a girl. They wouldn't have let you on because like you're not better at this sport than me. And mind you, this kid sucked at football. So like
Doesn't
whatever.
even make sense.
Yeah, it was just like the reactions, and then even boys on the team. Like I didn't play that sport again. It was my choice not to, because just like I didn't really feel like I was accepted.
Sure.
And I remember like sometimes at practice or during games, I would feel this like anxiety around like if I like don't play good enough, like they're all gonna look at me as like I'm inferior because like they're already mad I'm on the team, or like if I like wanted to ask a question or like even like be a part of the team with them, like I felt like I couldn't. I would just have this anxiety around it because of the way they like kind of treated me. There would be boys I remember they put me on the line one time, and there was this other like kid who was a linebacker from the other team who like in the middle of the game was like bitching at the ref about like me being on the team and being alive. It was just like weird shit like that. You know what I mean? Like they just like all had such a weird reaction to it. Yeah. And like there's no girls team. Women are like almost like discouraged from football being a thing. And it's like, why? Football, you don't have to be a man to play fucking football. Why is there's not even girls teams? No. You know, it's crazy.
It's because they're worried about the girls getting hurt and they like don't care about the boys getting hurt.
They're not worried about.
No, that's what they say.
That's what they say. Yeah. They don't want women to, because
that's the fear that they use, that I have heard repeated a million times by mothers specifically about how if girls play football, they will get injured. They will, and it's like, well, so will the boy. The boys are getting injured left and right. Like, there's been so many suppressed studies about the like what concussions will do to these people, and they're smashing their heads together.
It'll be worse for the boys too, because they're getting hit by another boy their size.
Exactly.
They'll get worse injuries. The one time we had like televised women's football, it was the lingerie league or whatever on like MTV or some shit. Like they had to sexualize it. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's only okay if you guys get to sexualize this.
No, football is like, because it's a specifically American sport, it is specifically American in its patriarchal way of being like, men play the game and women are the cheerleaders, and your job is to cheer on the men and be hot to like entice them to do better. Like it's the structure of our society. I think it's what always like I rejected so much about football. It's such a masculine game. It's so manly.
It's also, fun fact about football, you want to know why it's a thing in the US and nowhere else?
Why?
Capitalism. They have 4 quarters, so you can put ads up. It has to do with like advertisement and making corporations making profit.
I'm gonna look into
Because
that.
I forget, because I know like soccer is huge and it's not a huge thing here, but I think soccer has like less, like it doesn't have quarters. I think it's like halves or something.
Yeah, it's halves.
Yeah, so like they can't throw as many ads in. So like
Right.
if they're gonna televise something in the United States, we're super capitalist, so they want to put up more ads in between. And having quarters, that's a break in between, you can throw in an ad. It has to do with that.
That makes sense.
It's all about capitalism, which that's
mean,
what patriarchy and everything else is. But like,
I mean, considering each quarter's 15 minutes, so it's an hour-long game, but I've never seen a football game that wasn't 4 hours long.
yeah.
Because it's 45 minutes of like ads and 15 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, it's also one of those games because it feels pretty like slow the way it moves because there's a lot of stopping in between.
Yeah.
I like watching basketball. That is a sport I will watch because it's constantly going. But like, I don't even think football's that fun to watch. Like, it's fun to play. It's not very fun to watch, though, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm gonna have some football bros like come at me in the comments.
I've
but,
always
like, that's-
hated both playing it and watching it.
Yeah,
It was my least favorite thing.
yeah. I had fun playing it on that co-ed team when I was in the 5th grade, and that was about it. And then after
Yeah.
that, I'm like, oh, you guys suck. So
My fraternity tried to get me to play football. When, you know, we'd go out and play like half the frat versus half the frat. And like,
so crazy.
and nobody wanted me on their team because, first of all, I'm clumsy and can't catch or throw to save my life.
Yeah,
Second of all, I didn't want to hit people or tackle people or be hit or be tackled. And so like I would avoid basically every aspect of the game.
yeah.
So they only invited me to actually play with them one time. And then they were like, no, not you.
Yeah.
You can do whatever it is you do.
Also, I remember another incident. I got bullied a lot in elementary school specifically. In the 3rd grade, I was one of those girls that like, this was kind of internalized misogyny for me, but I was like, I don't like the color pink, whatever, you know?
Oh, sure.
I was one of those little girls. And
I had that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was definitely internalized misogyny.
It's so crazy. We hate
Yeah.
a color because we associate it with women. It's
And
kind of
it's
wild.
especially funny because like before, I think the 1920s, pink was the boy color and blue was the girl color.
Yeah.
And then it just switched because of like World War II and some kind of textile manufacturing thing. Like truly for like no reason. It just switched one day and then now we just have all these like social implications about it. Like if you wear pink, you're gay. And it's like
Yeah.
if you wore pink, it just used to mean you're a boy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so stupid.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I remember Halloween, I wanted to be a Power Ranger, but I didn't want to be the yellow one because I was like, yellow's not really my favorite. I didn't want to be the pink one because, you know.
Just pink.
Because pink. I remember being like, I want to be like one of the like main characters, so I'll be the Red Power Ranger. That's the one that's like the head in charge, the head bitch in charge.
Yep.
So
It's your whole thing.
I was the Red Power Ranger to school, and I remember these 3 boys like made fun of me because they're like, that's a boy's costume, like this looks stupid, you're a girl, whatever, and they kicked the shit out of me. I got my ass kicked on the playground by all 3 of them. They like started hitting me in the stomach and like throwing me around and shit because I was wearing a boy's costume. Misogyny, by the way, I'm from Central California, like between Fresno and Bakersfield, tiny
Yeah.
town, and there is a lot of misogyny there.
Makes sense.
It's
The red part of the state.
and it's weird because like people just kind of like deal with bigotry there and they all kind of just brush it off and stay cool even though terrible things are happening, like the racism as well. Like I had a couple of different black friends growing up, and some of the stuff they would tell me they were dealing with, like looking back on it, I'm like, everyone just kind of like brushes it off and just kind of like, because it's such a small community, everyone just kind of has to deal with each other. So they kind of just turn a blind eye to the bullshit they're being fed and how they're treated. I also had an uncle growing up. He's a racist, a misogynist. Like, I stopped talking to them a while ago. But I remember when me and my sister, because he has 2 sons, right? And they'd always come over for, like, Christmas and Thanksgiving. I remember he would kind of like tease me and my little sister about like girl stuff we liked. Like I remember my sister had this like diary, you know, in like the early 2000s where like all the little girls would get those like colorful diaries and like a pin that had like feathers on it that matched and a little lock on it. It was in like every movie with like a preteen girl, it was like Dear Diary, you know, it was kind of a cultural thing. My sister had this like blue or purple, like fuzzy kind of textured diary or whatever. She was like, oh, blah, 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 my diary. And I remember my uncle being like, oh, haha, like, it's so funny. Like, girls are so different. Like, the weird, dumb shit they like. Like, he would always just kind of treat, like, anything me and my sister liked that wasn't, like, a masculine thing that his sons liked as, like, it was, like, inferior. I remember at like Thanksgiving and like Christmas too, almost every time we'd have food and stuff, my mom, my nana, my aunt, and would like go in the kitchen and do a lot of cleanup. My dad would kind of pop in and help as well, but none of the like my cousins and my uncle didn't fucking help, you know what I mean? And it wasn't necessarily expected of my dad. He would just kind of like pop in a little bit, but like it's just weird. I remember being a kid and noticing like, why is this a thing that people just kind of like, why are the women expected to clean up after these fuckers?
I had that thought so often.
Like, I could understand if it's like you're a guest, so like the people that live here are gonna do it, but like my aunt and my grandmother would help as well. And I'm like, why is that just expected? It was just little things I noticed as a kid. Also, so in high school, when I was a freshman, I remember I was wearing like a Slipknot band t-shirt to school one day. And there was this one kid that kind of hung out in like the area all the like goth kids kind of hung out at. And I remember him and his friend like coming up to me because I was like the new like freshman girl. He was like, oh, I like your like Slipknot shirt, and started quizzing me on like the albums and shit. And I was like,
I hate that shit.
And I was just kind of like, I like this album and I like this. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
I remember being like, why are you asking me that? Because I was really like, and it was just like, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure you're like not a poser. And I'm like, why would I be a poser? Like, well, a lot of girls wear like band t-shirts, you know, that they don't even know. And I'm like, why are you so concerned with that? You fucking loser.
And what would be the big deal even if I was?
Yeah. So like shit like that. I had an ex-boyfriend from like the 8th grade who like for whatever reason, like I hated him, he hated me in high school, but he would just do this thing where he would like slut shame me all the time. And I had never had sex, mind you. Like I had never had sex with anybody. And like he would just like ask stupid questions. Like I remember I came to school with like these long like nails. He was like, what's up, slut? I bet it's hard to finger yourself with those or whatever. And I was just like, what the fuck, bro? And it was just like just shit like that. Like I would get like slut shamed by that fucking loser. Slut shaming was a huge thing in my like hometown too. So like one of my biggest things was like I would kind of like go back and forth with like maybe I would like have a crush on somebody and like maybe want to lose my virginity to I would just kind of always come back to like I can't fuck anybody in high school, because if one person finds out and they start talking about it or they have proof, my whole entire reputation at school is ruined and I'm going to get tortured the rest of my experience here, you know?
Even the concept of virginity is like
stupid.
Is misogyny.
Like if you're a virgin and you're a guy and you're too old, it's like a terrible thing, but like it's the opposite for girls, you know, like, which is so contradictory because like if you want all women to stay pure and not have sex with anybody, but you want to get all the bitches, how are you going to get laid, bro? Like it doesn't make any sense.
I know. They just want there to be like a couple of sluts they can all pass around and then like I'll get a pure wife or some bullshit. And it's all
projection because men are the sluts.
That is
like,
true.
I always say like, oh, I'm a slut. Like I'm picky. Like I you know what I mean? Like even in my sluttiest of days, I was more particular than most men are. Like I could walk outside right now and get 20 dudes to fucking agree to fuck me. It's like without knowing, you know what I mean?
You could do that.
But yeah, just things like that I would notice that really like started to shake up my worldview and how I was raised to be versus how the world was going to perceive me. Also, just like victim blaming people if something happened to them. Like, there's just so many examples I can give. And I'll get into my like college age stuff after, but I wanted you to kind of go over your childhood stuff too. So,
I mean, I had a different experience with a lot of those same ideas because again, everyone assumed I was a boy and they treated me as such.
Yeah.
And so like the misogyny was never directed at me outside of like if I was effeminate in any way, like I would be bullied at school or whatever, or like my dad would beat me or whatever. Like that's its own version of misogyny that's just like, don't be feminine. Whatever you do, don't be girl because girl bad. Yeah. Which is like a thing that really kind of, it gets stuck. Like girl equals bad. And like when you're raised with that and you're constantly surrounded by the concept of girl equals bad, if you are a trans girl, like I am, it was one of the biggest blocks I had in coming to terms with the fact that I'm a woman. all of the things that like my dad mainly was one of the primary sources, and church. But everything my dad said came from church because like his entire identity was Catholic.
And the church is the headquarters of misogyny. So
It basically invented, I mean, I don't know if it invented it, but like it's the number one proponent of like keeping misogyny alive and well.
Yeah.
And so my dad would say all kinds of just crazy shit. Like my older sister had a friend who like made out with a guy backstage at the play they were doing. And my dad was like, "Ugh, what a slut."
And
Like,
it's like, that's a child.
that's what I'm saying. And like a child kissing a child backstage is not slutty behavior. That is normal, explorative child behavior.
Yeah.
He just had things like that. And I think mostly he was saying it to like try to keep my sister like pure,
Which is so gross.
which is very gross.
Like, why are you thinking about your daughter potentially having sex so much? I've always thought that was weird.
It's-
I'm so
it
grateful
is-
I
it
didn't
is weird.
grow up with one of those dads.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
He made a lot of those dumb jokes about like women belong in the kitchen and like women could never be president because they're too emotional and they might nuke a country on their period.
If I was your sibling, I think I would have fought your dad.
You might have.
I think I would have kicked the shit out of your dad. That would have
It's-
pissed me off.
Yeah. He also he hated lesbians. Like the concept of a lesbian. And I think it comes from the fact that like he genuinely believed a woman cannot survive on her own. A woman cannot provide for herself. And without a man, she will die or fall into sin or whatever. And so the concept, the idea that someone could be a lesbian was like a personal attack against him. Because like, what do you mean you're saying you don't need me? And so like
And it's funny because isn't your dad a closeted homosexual?
I couldn't say, honestly, but like probably.
Yeah.
The types of movies he liked and the types of things he enjoyed and the
Some of the
types-
stories you've told me about him
the
feel
friendship bonds he had with some of the men he introduced me to, I was like, you seem a lot flirtier with this guy than mom. You know, like, so like probably. And they were all like on the wrestling team together, you know.
Oh, wrestling?
Putting their butts in each other's faces or whatever.
Wrestling is
Those
so weird.
leotards, skin tight, you know.
I know a trans girl who, she's bisexual, but she was on the wrestling team in high school, and she's like, it was kind of fun because I got to like wrestle hot dudes.
It's a kink. It's a kink for some people, you know? Like, but he was so anti-lesbian that he like almost didn't let us see Finding Nemo.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Ellen DeGeneres voices Dory. But I remember
That's fucking crazy.
I remember him going on this like disgusted rant where he was like, Ellen DeGeneres. And I was like, I don't even know who she is. Like, he was like, I just can't believe they got a lesbian to voice the fish. And I was like, what? Like, what's your deal? Like, why is this such a fucking issue for you? Why is this such a fishu for you?
A fishu?
We're going to take a quick break from the episode to tell you about a sponsor that we really stand by.
TComfiFits.
TComfiFits.
The best way to fight capitalism is to destroy the corporations that are screwing us all over.
I mean, I do agree with that.
And the way we do that is supporting smaller businesses, especially if they're owned by queer people.
Especially a queer-owned small business. And TComfiFits is indeed a queer-owned business with trans people in mind. Truly and genuinely, I wouldn't support telling you all this stuff if I didn't actually stand by it. Like, I love the pants.
Yeah, they look great too.
They look awesome. I got tucking jeans where they have like a tucking thing like built into it. They make my ass look amazing and the fit is really nice and they flare out and they're like long enough, which it's so hard to find pants that are long enough as a trans person who is tall.
Yeah, I'm a cis tall girl. I want them to make clothing for cis girls too so I can get those because my pants are always capris. Look at these bitches. These are pants. They're capris.
Yeah, my pants are also always capris.
Yeah, but they look amazing. I got a boxer set and a bra. The bra has like binding technology, so it like flattens your chest for you. So if you're like a trans mask or a trans guy Or it's like, if you're just a cis woman that doesn't give a shit if you got boobs or not, you could also buy them. But yeah, they're very comfortable, and the pants look amazing.
Yeah.
They make gender-affirming
I
outfits.
stand by them. And we have a promo code.
Mm-hmm.
If you type in
The Gender Yap dash BOGO. We'll put it up on the screen.
the Gender Yap dash BOGO. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a buy one, get one.
Mm-hmm.
Is it buy one, get one free?
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Yep.
So basically you can get two things for the price of one thing.
Yeah.
Or just assume, you're getting two things that are both half off, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Get yourself some trans-affirming, trans-made clothes from TComfiFits.
Also, if you're somebody who is still kind of closeted where you're living and it's not super safe, their packaging is very discreet as well.
Oh yeah, you'd never know what's in there.
Yeah. And now back to our show. Yeah, all homophobia is rooted in misogyny.
100%.
That is, like, when you get to the bottom of it, that's where it comes from.
Correct.
Without misogyny, you don't even have that.
Yep. He also had this idea that, like, because a woman is at home all day, she has time to work out and she should be in shape. And if she's fat, it's a sign of weakness and laziness.
I've seen what your dad looks like. He ain't in good shape.
I don't know that he's ever really worked out. Like,
Yeah,
ever.
what the
He's
fuck?
not, like, obese or anything, but, like, he's not in good shape.
He's not in shape.
Yeah, he's not in shape.
And then most women that are staying at home, they usually have kids, and that's why.
They probably have a full-time fucking job
That-
managing the house that you're neglecting by being like, all I have to do is provide the
Yeah.
money and I'll go to the boys club all day and come home with some cash and you'll make sure the kids get to their appointments and make it to their games and their recitals and their blah, 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 blah. And you'll clean and you'll cook and you'll do the laundry and you'll do...
And it's like, girl, why aren't you doing any of that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you fucking doing all
Yeah.
day besides going to
Like,
work?
well, on the weekend, I'll clean out the gutters, or like, would be like one fucking thing a week,
Yeah.
that he would participate in. And he'd be like, it's balanced.
It's not.
It's not balanced.
Because realistically, everything men expect their wives to do for them, especially if they have kids, that's like 2-3 full-time jobs.
It's an insane amount of work. And then he would criticize my mom if she didn't get it all done in a week. Like, it was constant
Yeah.
nitpicking and criticism of, like, women not living up to the expectations that society has put upon us.
I don't know how your mom puts up with that. I'd fight your dad if I was in any scenario with your
The
dad.
thing
I
is-
think I'd kick the shit out of your dad.
She had a dad who was the same way. Mm-hmm. And I think she internalized at a very young age the fact that he believed that his wife wasn't succeeding at those things is the reason he cheated and started a second family.
I hate when men gaslight women about the cheating like it's their fault. I'm like, no.
I know.
You're just a slut.
Yeah.
And a selfish bitch, and you can't close your legs, motherfucker. Like, that's how I feel about, like, men that are married that cheat. They'll have the best wife in the world who's beautiful, takes care of everything, and they'll still cheat. Because it's never enough for them.
Yeah.
Because they've been told their whole life they can do whatever they want, and they can just disregard everyone else's feelings. I just, ugh.
Yep. But that's how my mom put up with it, is just because, like, that's the water she was raised in. She's also Catholic and, like, believes all the bullshit about women's place and men's place and men are in charge. Like, and she would find ways to, like, stand her ground sometimes, and she would dig her heels in every once in a while. But, like, all the little shit, she would just let slide. All the little comments and the derogatory and the putting her down and the, calling her lazy because she didn't lose enough weight and he wasn't attracted to her, all that kind of shit. Like, it was just constant. Like, that was my daily existence. And then we'd, go to church and we'd hear some stupid sermon about how, like, women need to respect and honor their husbands and obey him and all this kind of bullshit. And, the conversations about how, like, it's a woman's duty to have sex with her husband. And if she
Which
doesn't...
is rape culture.
It is rape
Yeah.
culture. And, like, but they, like, the priest would say that to us. And we would all just sit there and listen. And I'd look at my parents and they'd be like, yes, this is correct.
That's so
This is
crazy.
absolutely right.
Marital rape was legal until the 90s.
I know.
That was okay until the 90s
Yeah.
in our society legally, which is so crazy to think about. Like,
Yeah.
I was a baby shitting my pants when they passed the law that makes it so you cannot do that to your wife, which is so sick.
And there's still states that like don't believe that's a thing. That like once you're married, there's no such thing as rape anymore, regardless of whether it's legal or not. Like people aren't reporting it.
No, because no one fucking believes us when it happens.
Exactly.
Everyone act like, oh, well, women lie. Statistically, no, we don't. And statistically, most men rape. So suck my dick. Like,
And that is an unfortunately true statistic. But so like, clothing should be modest. Virginity is very important. He always very emphasized that. I mean, to be fair, my parents did emphasize that for men and women. They were like, boys should be virgins, girls should be virgins, everyone should be virgins, no one should be fucking until marriage. Like, they were very firm believers in that. And my sister, I know, adhered to that. And I was going to adhere to that until I dated somebody when I was a junior in high school who was not a virgin. And I had an existential crisis. I literally crashed out for months about it because I didn't know she had had sex before when we got together. And we were like 5 months into the relationship before I like realized that she had had sex with her previous boyfriend. And I was like, but everything I've ever been taught is that if you have sex before marriage, you are a sinner and you are bad in the eyes of the Lord. But you don't seem bad. You don't seem like a sinner. I feel like are you secretly bad? Like, or is my entire worldview wrong? But like, I believed a lot of that shit, like kind of up until that moment. Like that caused a crash out spiral, the likes of which you can't imagine.
Was that the thing that got you questioning the church?
I was already questioning the existence of God prior to that because a lot of the Bible stories just didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
And nobody could ever answer any of my questions.
Also, why is everyone worshiping a man as the person who created everything when literally women are birthing people? Like,
I mean, I didn't go that far at that age, but like I got there eventually. But like that was the thing that made me really question the church and its teachings. Because I sort of had this worldview where it was like, well, God may not be real, but I think religion is good because it makes people not be evil. Like it gets people to, and like because I didn't know all the shit goes on behind when you're a child. I was like 12. And you're told all the time, like, it provides a sense of morality. Like that would be one of my dad's big arguments all the time. It would be like, if we didn't have the church, like, how would we know what's right and wrong? You'd probably just
Says
go
the grown
out
man
there
that's slut shaming a child. Sorry, don't correct themselves.
I know. I mean, you're correct. But yes, that was kind of the moment. Like, I was like, oh, you have had sex before. And I don't think you're evil. Therefore, I think the fact that they're teaching me that if you have sex, you're evil is bullshit. And I wonder what else is bullshit. Around that time, I like started diving into like feminist literature and being like, oh, this is connecting so many dots and making so much sense. And I actually think the church was invented to suppress women, and that's fucked. And I got there within the course of like 2 years after that crash out.
Thank God.
I know, literally. Like, it was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go my whole life and only date people who had never had sex before.
Yeah.
Because you can barely find anybody like that unless I only dated people in the church. But those people always bored the fuck out of me because they were too like, I'm going to follow the rules and I'm scared of everything and but like that's also the type of girl that a lot of like predatory men seek out because they know they're easier to control. It's a whole fucking thing. But yeah, so like, even though I like learned that those things were not true, when it got to the point where I started questioning, could I be a woman? A lot of those thoughts would pop up again, a lot of those ideas and like
religion's
subtly
meant to suppress who you really are.
Yeah. And I'd be like, well, I can't be a woman because I don't want to spend my life in the kitchen. Wait, I don't think women should spend their life in the kitchen. That was a weird thought. like it was a lot of that. Just like thoughts things I didn't believe, things that I hadn't thought in years would just like pop back up. And I realized that like, oh, these are things I must have been telling myself all along. Because if these thoughts are being triggered and they're things I don't even believe anymore, they must just be things I internalized along the way as reasons I wasn't a woman. which means I must have been subconsciously looking for it without even knowing I was. Because as early as age 6, I was like, I think I might be a girl. But then, again, it wasn't until age
The whole world's telling
17
you no. Yeah.
that I started being like, maybe they're wrong about women. So like, that's 12 years of being like, these things are true. And that's why I can't be a woman, because I don't want to do that. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, that's certainly not me. So, okay, I guess I'm a boy. Like,
yeah, I also think because you were raised in a way, because you were saying like AMAB people are kind of conditioned to ignore their own feelings.
I'm still hella good at it too.
But you're not as good as me.
That's true.
I'm the queen of ignoring my feelings, but between that and also probably just seeing the way women were treated, like no one would choose to be a woman under patriarchy. I've said this before on this podcast, and I'll have people in the comments like, that's not true, or like, I would choose, and I'm like, I'm not saying you wouldn't choose to be a woman no matter what. I'm saying under patriarchy, the way we are treated. Yeah. Especially in like a cult situation like that, where that is your existence 24/7. Like no one would choose that. Mm-hmm. I feel like between seeing how like your sister and other girls and women were treated around you, and also you being conditioned to just ignore your feelings, perform being a man to people, like that probably put you in a state of just like completely shutting it out of your mind, I would assume. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like locked that thought away deep, far away, and was just like, I'll just coast.
Yeah.
It's easier.
But it's not happy, it doesn't sound like.
I wouldn't say happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like misogyny for trans women before they transition is more of them being forced to suppress their womanhood.
Yes. It's a deterrent.
Yeah.
It's like it's there to make us not want to transition.
Yeah, exactly. And it like kind of makes you, I feel like, internalize misogyny, and it helps you, or it doesn't help you, but it like helps them separate you from that.
Right. But it's also, it's like stuff we were talking about in the Chevalier d'Ant episode, where like after she transitioned and would like go to a banquet and everyone would be like, oh, her manners are so wrong, and like that's how I felt people would feel about me. I'd be like, I feel like I've been sort of trained to act like a man, and sort of like I don't have the social rules that have been put on me that have been put on girls. So if I'm at like a girls' night, I'm not going to know how to act. Like the first
yourself though. There is no right way to be a woman.
I know. But like the first night I went to a girls' night was like so terrifying. I was like, what if I do something and they all just go like, you're a man. We knew it all along. And I was just like, I was heavily fucking suppressing just the whole time. Cause I was like, I just want to like be here and like learn from y'all how y'all interact with each other, and like eventually sort of warmed up into like feeling more comfortable expressing femininity and like talking the way that girls do to each other, and like a way that I would naturally do it.
It's funny too, because like I had a similar upbringing to you, surprisingly, not the like church and like extra misogynist shit, but just the way I was raised. I wasn't raised to be like a weak woman.
Right.
And I think that has played a role in, because I've been like demonized throughout my life by society for like being too masculine, or I'm too tall, or like I've been made fun of for my voice being too low sometimes, like stupid things like that. For like I have an Adam's apple. There's like physical characteristics even people have like came at me for. But I also like I've definitely masked it through certain parts of my life a little more, and performed like a hyper femme thing I felt like people wanted from me. Now that I'm an adult especially, I'm like, nope, I'm me. But I feel like it's kind of sad. I'm sure a lot of other trans women relate to you, what you just said, of feeling like, well, what if? And a lot of cis women are like brainwashed into thinking they have to subscribe to this like meek, it's usually white women too. It's really specific in white culture, but a lot of cis women perform this quiet, meek, fragile thing. I'm the opposite of that. Like I've always been a very loud and boisterous woman. You know, I have interests in things that aren't considered feminine, but like I don't care. Like if I like something, I like something. Why are hobbies and interests gendered? It's stupid.
That's stupid.
I remember meeting you because you hadn't been on hormones long. You had like just kind of come out within a
Yeah, I'd been on hormones like a year.
yeah, and you weren't even all the way out to everybody in your life. But I just had this thought when you were talking about that. I have noticed in like the years that I've known you, because when I first met you, you kind of like, you seemed like you were masking.
Yeah.
And it's not even
Heavily.
in an autistic way. Like it just seemed like you were really wound tight and uncomfortable being yourself. And over the years, I've noticed that's gone away, which is awesome, you know?
I've grown into myself.
Yeah, you definitely have.
And I think you're a part of why.
Don't make me cry on the
I'm
podcast
not.
again.
I'm not trying. I promise I'm not trying to. But like, I think I genuinely think that like it is part of what so many trans girls like about you. And like the reason that so many trans girls sort of like flock to you is because you are an example of a woman who isn't doing all the bullshit we were told our whole lives women are supposed to be.
Yeah.
You are an example of a way to be a woman that is like, nah, fuck all that shit. You know, when you don't know a lot of those women, we feel like we have to act like all the other people who are all like suppressing and like meek and scared to stand up for themselves and it's like, we feel like in order to be accepted as a woman, we have to do those things.
Yeah.
And you don't do those things. And it is one of the things that like immediately drew me to you. And I was like, if this counts, I'm good. I can do this. Like, this is ideal womanhood, you know, in a way. And like,
Yeah. No, women can be literally anything they want to be. It's just the world tells us that you're only acceptable if you perform hyper-femininity and you make yourself small for the world to be comfortable. I'm just not somebody that does that.
and you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And nobody should.
Nobody should.
Nobody should.
Everyone should just be themselves, you know?
But people, you know, when you're raised and immersed in a culture that cuts off your flowers and trims your branches and keeps you a certain shape and a certain size, it's hard to continue to grow. At a certain point, you're like, this is fine.
Yeah.
And so many cis women, whether they're confident or they know all that's bullshit or not, they still have not fully allowed themselves to express the fullness of themselves.
Yeah.
And for men either, like men haven't fully allowed themselves to fully express the fullness of themselves,
Yeah.
but in a very different way.
Very different way.
The men were like, what if I take everything that's good about me and get rid of it?
Literally. What
And
if I'm just like the biggest asshole in the world and I just terrorize people
Right.
and like
Yeah.
put them in bad situations
Yeah.
to make myself feel better about this
Yeah.
system we're living
And
under?
women are
Yeah.
like, what if I just never make anyone uncomfortable?
Yeah, which is so sad.
Yeah.
This is the other thing. When I met you, I kind of like, after we got a little bit closer, which was pretty quick, we clicked like right away. But I was the older sister, right? Like I am big sister. Growing up, like I would show my sister cool shit that I found or pop culture things, you know, and show her how to do stuff. Like she didn't have to like figure things out on her own as much because I had already done it. I was like a couple of years ahead, you know? And I just knew, like, some of the people we were around at the time, I just didn't feel like they were girls, and, like, had your best interest in mind. And just, like, some of the, like, tips and advice I gave you, I did it, because I felt like it would be received overall well, and you would maybe want the advice and the help. I just kind of take that big sister role a lot of the time with, like, women that are either like maybe like a little bit younger than me, but like you're a little bit older than me in like age years, but like girl years, you're younger than me, you know, like I do kind of tend to do that with like female friends that I feel like might need a little help with something or might need to be protected even, like, you know, but I'm a girl's girl, you know?
You are.
But yeah, the world is hard to navigate as a woman. And I know it's so much worse for trans women. So like, you were a really good friend to me, so I was just like, well, I'll help you make this easier. It'll make your life easier if you learn a few things, you know? But it doesn't mean you have to make yourself small either.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So, segue into my 20s. I got sent away from the ages of 15 to 18 I went to 4 different troubled teen programs. We won't get into it. We have an episode up on our audio if you want to hear my story about that. But I remember there was a lot of misogyny in there. That place would sometimes underfeed us to the point where like it felt like I was starving. Like there were a lot of fucked up things. It was very abusive. But I remember like boys got fed more food than the girls did. I remember in particular there was this one kid, like we didn't interact with the boys' side, but sometimes the lines would be passing each other, and then one line would face the wall while the other passed. And I would remember sometimes we'd walk up on the boys' line, and there was this one boy who was like tiny, little guy, like maybe 5 foot nothing. And like, I have a fast metabolism. I am a bigger girl. I played sports my whole fucking life. All I did in there was play basketball. As long as I wasn't on like suicide watch or something, I was allowed to play basketball. So I'm working out. I'm a growing girl. I'm a teenager. I need food. I need a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I would just look at that kid and be so fucking mad because he's getting double the food that I'm getting. I used to do like, I would work in the kitchen because if you were a level 3 and up, you could work the kitchen and they'd give you double portions. I would do that as much as I could so I could get extra food. Like there was misogynistic shit like that. There were words the girls couldn't say that the boys could say. Like they had different rules for the boys even. The homophobia in there as well. I think probably some of the worst misogyny I got was in that place.
Makes sense.
And there were like all kinds of other layers of trauma from that we won't get into.
Because that's also like those facilities, the troubled teen industry, they are essentially designed to enforce the religious shit that I grew up with, all the patriarchal bullshit, and teach it to secular kids, to take the non-religious kids and train them to be in society in a way that is more befitting
Mimics what the church
of
wants.
their expectations of boys and girls.
There were a lot of kids that were neurodivergent that got sent there as well. There were a lot of like closeted gay kids or some that were even out, like closeted trans kids. That was also really common. And I like a lot of the times when you get sent there, it's because you're acting out and your parents don't want to fucking deal with you. So they send you somewhere thinking they're helping you. I really think the troubled teen industry is designed to take people that don't follow society's rules and fuck them up. So they either kill themselves, die of a drug overdose, or just conform. Or just are too weak to fight because they're so traumatized. Like, I don't know a lot of kids that came out of there okay. I'm like a huge, which is sad. I'm not that successful, but I'm a success story compared to some of the kids that came out of there that I know. Yeah. I've had a lot of friends die. But that was a big hit of misogyny I got. Also, like, I remember after I got out of there, I moved out of my parents' house, moved down to LA, and I was going to school down here. And I was going to school for audio engineering specifically, and I was one of the only girls. Same thing with the music production school I went to. I was one of the only girls. In the audio engineering school I was going to, most of the guys in there like heavily sexualized me. And this was the funny thing. I had a fiance who was a man when I started that school, and we broke up while I was in school there. And I remember after I broke up with my fiance, all of the guys at school found out about it. I started getting sexually harassed to a degree where I was like coming home and having fucking meltdowns. There was one female professor there. I like cried in her office after school one day. Yeah. I remember her being like, yeah, if you're going to get in this industry, you have to get tough skin. This is going to happen a lot. You have to like, you know, I remember in class one day, she was like, they were talking about like how to get a job as an engineer. And it was like, and she was saying, you know, if you're a girl, don't wear a dress, don't do anything too hyper femme. I would do minimal makeup. And one of the girls in the class like raised her hand and was like, why can't we wear a dress? And she was like, the way men treat women in the world. She kind of like lightly and vaguely touched on it because it's a room full of boys. Yeah. She was like, you just want to kind of come off almost like a gender neutral kind of a thing. So that way you can get your job, do your job, and not deal with the bullshit, you know? Like, she knew how to survive in the industry. Yeah. I respect her a lot. But I remember one day I had gone to class and I was hungover and I wore like baggy basketball shorts, a t-shirt, my hair was all up, I had no makeup on, I looked a mess that day, right? And there were 3 guys in my class I were really good friends with. Like, I'm still friends with them to this day. All 3 of them were so fucking cool. And we're walking around and I like looked at them and I was like, you guys, you know what I just realized? I didn't get hit on once today. And my friend Rob just looks at me and he was like, well, yeah, dude, you're dressed like a dude. Like, and I was like, I have a fucking idea. I think I'm going to start dressing more butch. And I remember I had an incident a couple days later and I got harassed by this one guy. And I was like, I'm fucking over it. So I went home and I cut all my hair off and I bought a bunch of boys' clothes and I started dressing like as a full butch. And I started telling all of my classmates I was gay so they'd fuck off, and it worked. Except for like a handful of friends all through college. Like if I was going to a school that was like, you know, had a lot of guys and not many girls, like I would have like a handful of dudes that were really cool and not misogynistic and cool with me, and then the rest of them were just a nightmare to deal with. I'd feel an anxiety about asking questions in class because people would act like you were stupid if you were the girl that didn't know. But also, if you knew a lot, there'd always be some guy to like mansplain what you already knew to make himself feel better and make you look stupid. Like, it was just a nightmare to navigate. After I started dressing more butch, out of just like disdain for like how I'd been treated my whole life, and I was like, well, I don't want to fuck bitches now. You know, like, I've been with a dude for 4 years. Like, I'm going to go fuck some girls. So, like, I was, you know, like, I'd hook up with guys in between sometimes too. But, like, I was hooking up with a lot of women. And, like, because I was, like, not able to be out to my family, I was pretty distant with a lot of the girls that I did genuinely like me, and I do feel bad about that. But, like, even outside of that, I was, like, mildly misogynistic about it. It was, like, my little fuckboy phase, you know? But it was, like, I want to be the man one, you know? Like, I want to be the man in the situation. I don't want to get treated the way I'm being treated, so I'm just going to subscribe to that. That was kind of my mentality through that time. So even, like, internalized misogyny will turn into something ugly where you do it to other people. I was a stripper for 10 years, and that really opens your mind to how misogynistic the world is on a different level, because you're now being treated as a sex worker. People see you as a useless whore. They don't care if you live or die. They don't see you as a human. Also opens your mind to all the other problems in the world. Like, I became very hyper aware of like racism. Like, I already knew it was a thing, but like it was to a degree where I'm like, oh, the black women can't even get jobs at places. They'll look better than all the white bitches in here, and they won't get a job because people are racist. Like, customers say really weird racist shit to them. The homophobia, transphobia, like every problem in the world just gets amplified in an environment like that. But the way I would get treated by like people that generally like cared about me, that were friends even, like, what, because 10 years ago, it was still very taboo to be a stripper. I didn't start telling people until some years in. And this is why I had a friend that I remember telling that's what I was doing for work. And she said something about like, oh, well, they like only hire girls that like don't have any dignity. Like, she would just like say shit like that. Like, I'm less of a person and I don't have autonomy over my own body because I'm choosing to work here. And there's, you know, like, it means something negative about me.
Yeah. Like,
there are just so many incidents throughout my life. I got raped in 2018, and I remember after that had happened, I had a male friend that I was talking to, and like, I hadn't kind of come out and said I was raped because I was still putting it together. I was also drugged for it, so it was kind of a confusing time, but I was like scared for my life, like, fuck this guy, like, I gotta do something about it. And he was like, well, and this dude said something along the lines of like, well, aren't you like making this a bigger deal than it needs to be? And I was like, what do you fucking mean? I never talked to that guy again.
Yeah, that guy was admitting something.
Yeah. There's just so many incidents, like victim blaming, victims of rape, like that's rooted in misogyny, you know, like transphobia is rooted in misogyny. Even a lot of like racist stuff is has a tie to misogyny, because like black women are like hyper masculinized, and like also black men are hyper masculinized and just seen as objects. It's, you know, like there's just so much you can tie back to that relates to it, and it's so prevalent in our society. And it's like, how do we even possibly begin to unpack this? Like, you know?
Yeah, I think that is a good stopping place for us today. We have so much more to say. Next time, we're going to talk a lot more about trans misogyny, but also more about misogyny in general. But we're going to get into more of my specific experiences with certain types of misogyny. But until then, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Patreon.
Yes. Send us an email.
Send us an email, thegenderyap@gmail.com. And if you join the Patreon, you can hang out with us more, be in on the inside jokes and whatever. Yeah, it'll just be a great time. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week with more talk of misogyny.
Yes.
We love you.
We love you.
Fare thee well.
See you next time. Bye.
Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science.